June 18, 2020. In the dream, I was shown a tree, a very, very, very leafy tree, which had extensive branches that reached many places and gave shade. I saw in that tree that there were fruits. The fruit was ripe, ready to eat. I also saw that in that tree there were many birds nesting with their hatchlings. I saw many animals living in the shelter of that tree. I also saw under that tree herb, very nice clumps of herb that lived under the shade of that tree. That was on the right side of the tree where I saw that herb, but on the left side of the tree I saw a vine. That vine was coming from far away, beyond where the shade of the tree gave. I saw that vine, where the tree was not shading it, its leaves were brown, the color brown. But as the vine came under the shade of the tree, the part that came under the shade of the tree, its leaves began to turn a little green. So I saw the vine reach the trunk of the tree, and there its leaves began to grow greener and greener. At that moment, while I was looking at what they were showing me, I heard some words that told me, to everything that this tree gives shade, and everything that is around it, that lives around it, it is going to help them in having water in its time, because it is going to take water from the depths and nutrients from the depths. So this herb and this vine that has been crawling all the way to the trunk of this tree, they are going to have secure water and food. But the herb can't help the vine 100%, because the vine has very superficial roots, and all it can get is basically for itself. And if it were to share, it can give very little, but it sacrifices and shares with the other herbs that are around it. But if it were to share with the vine, with which has some green, it could not subsist, because it needs a lot of water and food to be able to turn all its leaves from brown to green. I also heard that I was told that this vine, which had brown leaves and some that were turning green, could not help the herb 100%, because it, by itself, was still barely living, but it was going to make it. It was going to be able to live because it had come under the shade of the tree. Thus, I was also told that the tree that gave fruits and that sheltered with its branches many beings, giving them protection, was a tree that was now ready to release its fruits so that many would eat from it. Looking at all this spectacle that they were putting in front of me, while I was listening to all these things and trying to internalize everything what I was seeing in front of me in that moment, and all the spiritual details that this entailed, at that moment, there I woke up. May God grant that we be able to understand. God grant that we be able to realize that there is something the Lord is telling us. There is already a preparation exists, and others that are in process. Some who are crawling, but they desire it. They have some green. The herb, although weak, but there it is, feeding under the tree. God grant that we be able to understand all these things, and may we realize that the Eternal is attentive to each of His children wherever they are in this world, no matter if they are herb, if they are trees, or if they have some green. The Eternal is very attentive, because the time has come when those who begin to bear true fruit. They will be now, because ripe ones already exist, and soon this world will receive nourishment from these trees by God's grace and blessing. These trees will bear fruits to the world, not because they can bear fruits by themselves, but because they drank water from the fountain of living water. They ate of the bread that only Christ can give, and thus came to have these fruits for the glory and honor of the eternal, for the advancement of his kingdom, and for the blessing and salvation of many. It is my plea and prayer that we be able to understand this, and that we may be co-participants in the advancement of the kingdom of our God on this earth. May the Lord bless us.